Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I'm joined by Joe Dellera from the Cash That podcast and Jim Turvey from Roto Grinders. Joe's at Joe Dellera. Jim's at Turvey Bets. This is your Future Jays episode for Monday, November 3rd in the association. We'll give you best bets on the Monday slate. Lots of different games to get into on that one. We'll also talk tonight about the awards market, where it has shifted. We'll talk about the movement that we've already seen. How can we respond to that by finding value in the market? All that and more on tonight's show. Glad to have you guys with us. If you're watching at youtube.com/the Action Network, make sure to give us a like and subscribe. If you're not, go check it out. Lots of folks listen. I've started listening to podcasts on YouTube. I am guilty of it. People that do not listen to podcasts on YouTube think this is the strangest thing in the world, even though it's like the biggest podcast platform at this point. Like I have friends are like, what do you mean? Like, why would you do that? Like it's an audio medium. Why would you watch it on YouTube? And it's like, I don't know what to tell you. Lots of people are doing it now. You can join those people by going to youtube.com/the Action Network, giving us a like and subscribe. Go to the Action Network app, download it, and sign up for Action Pro. And you can get Joe's picks and Brandon's picks. Brandon had an absurd NFL day. He just did some absolutely wacky Brandon stuff on Sunday, and you're going to want to be able to tail him. So make sure that you go there and subscribe. Also check out Roto Grinders for Jim Turvey's projections throughout the week. Make sure to support Jim and his work over at Roto Grinders. Okay. We will begin this week with a discussion of most valuable player, which usually I love that this is the year that Jim Turvey is like in on MVP, because usually Jim's like, it's too sharp. I don't care.
Whatever.
And this is a different one. So leader in the market at DraftKings, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander plus 200. Entering tonight's game versus the Suns, where he had a bad game, Victor Wembanyama was plus 260. I have not checked those odds since that game ended. Nikola Jokic has fallen to plus 425. Luka Doncic is plus 550 as he continues to put up berserk numbers. But he dropped back because he missed a few games. Giannis Antetokounmpo is plus 800. He was 1,100 before the season, so that's moved $3 based off of the facts that he's just absolutely smashing worlds. How about Tyrese Maxey being next on this list? He was still an extremely long number at DraftKings, but there are wild numbers all over the board on Tyrese Maxey. You got Anthony Edwards at 80-1. He's still out with that hamstring injury. Kevin Durant is 150-1. I'm curious where you guys want to start. Jim, let's start with you. What are your kind of thoughts on where the MVP market is and where it's moved?
I think it is really interesting. And like you said, I don't often find myself playing around these waters. I think it's a really tough market to beat. There's not as many long shots in general. But what I was poking around a little bit, Matt, if I want to ask this of you first. Maybe you've already looked at this. I know we love EPM. You and I are EPM acolytes, but BPM, what would you guess Shai is at right now? What would you guess the league leader is at right now? And what would you guess Shai ends the year at? Give me those three numbers. I think you're muted, or like
Cash the minus 1,000. I would have to like get a sense of like what those actual numbers are before I could give you like a good guess on it.
Okay.
Like I can never keep straight like EPM, like I have a better idea of EPM
That's true.
What they are.
I'll say this. Last year, Jokic was like 13.3 and Shai was 11.5. So Jokic always leads in this, around that 12-13 range. And Shai last year was at 11.5. So we don't have to play the guessing game. I'll say this. This year, the leaderboard looks like this. Again, we're 2 weeks in the season, but this one stabilizes relatively fast. Giannis is at 14.6.
Jesus.
At 14.2. Wemby's at 13.1. Jokic is at 13.0. Shai's at 9.5. Shai's at 9.5 despite shooting pretty well in the mid-range. Right? In fact, he's probably shooting a little bit above his standards from the mid-range, shooting a little bit worse from three. But if you look at last season for Shai and instead of seeing it as growth, you see as, that was a little bit of an outlier season. I think the case can be made that Shai is going to have one of these big four that are just like advanced stats, absolute juggernauts. That's going to be a notable gap for him at the end of the year. So I think the other way to frame it, and Joe, you and I had chatted a little bit about this, is like basically the wins game, right? because if Shea is like 4 BPM, 2 EPM, a bunch of other advanced metrics behind, but they win 65, 68, 70 games, and no one else clears 50, which when I look at this group, I'm not sure guys are getting into the mid 50s even in this group here. I would say the Bucks are probably around like high 40s. The Lakers are probably mid 40s. The Spurs probably mid 40s. The Nuggets, I think, are the one you'd think would have the best chance at mid 50s, but I would probably project them as kind of low 50s, right around 50, especially with Cam Johnson not looking like, he's starting with the world on fire right now. So I'm curious, how big does the wins gap have to be to make up for what I think potentially could be a pretty notable advanced metrics gap again? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's interesting in that it's like, you want to point to last year and be like, last year it was the wins were all that mattered, and it's like, well, Shea was first in EPM last year.
Yeah,
like again, as I try and this is the best way to think about it. The metrics that we pay attention to don't drive the votes; they reflect them.
Yeah,
it's that voters will look over the efficiency numbers and the on-offs. Some of them will. But those numbers will also bear out in terms of team success. Like if you have a really great season, your team is probably going to have really good success. You're not going to win the award if you're a high volume scorer and you don't contribute in any other category and your team doesn't win, or like a lot of it was like, guess what? Shea's defensive EPM was through the roof last year, even though he wasn't all that great of a defender. But the impact as far as like a box score goes, because he led the league in steals, or was second in steals behind Dyson. Like that's a massive impact here on his advanced metrics that kind of reflect it. The one I've been looking at early season while we wait for EPM to first get published, which it won't until November, actually on NBA.com, they have a very messy metric called PI, Player Impact Estimate. And here's the eye test for you. 30 minutes per game. These are your top 5 in PI this season. Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
And Shea in 5th of those 5.
And Shea is 5th. By the way, 6th is Austin Reeves. 7th is Bennett Mathurin. 8th is Norman Powell, who's missed several games. Jalen Johnson coming in 9th. Look at that kid go. So the interesting question here is, as much as I've resisted the Jokic, so first I think I want to talk about Jokic. I do think the Nuggets are going to be mid-50s. They lost in overtime in the Warriors season opener, home opener, and they lost.
Should have won that game too.
And they lost a ridiculous game against the Blazers, which I never get upset at officiating, especially with the Nuggets. I'm the one that is always telling Nuggets fans, like, no, I'm sorry. You're like this. You're not getting bad calls here. Like, these are fouls. I was livid after that game at how that game was officiated in Portland. It was a joke of a finish in Portland. Like, you get to hug the MVP and get a jump ball called. What are you talking about? Yeah. So 3-time MVP. So I still am very confident that Denver's going to win mid-50s. But if you look at the numbers also, I think it's going to be hard for Joker to be able to put up the numbers that are going to put him in that conversation, because that dude does not want to score that much, is not going to try and score that much. And the Nuggets, you've already seen this. Adelman is doing stuff like, hey, we can buy another 4 minutes. Let's wait and play Jonas and get his minutes down. And like, everyone is happy with Jokic having a 22-10-10 season.
To my eyes, he has looked like he's in cruise control a little bit, and not necessarily in the worst way possible. Is that what you're seeing too? And do you think that's all season?
Yeah, it's easy. He is looking to get other guys involved. So versus the Wolves, that's a tough matchup, but it's also like Ants out. They're on the road. They're like, we got to win this one. Like, we can go one up on Minnesota here. So what happens? Jokic annihilated them. Like, his footwork was precise. He was making floaters. Like, he was everywhere. He killed them in that game. The following game is, I think, Utah. And he just like puts it on cruise control.
Yeah, it's a little like LeBron-esque, like of where, LeBron kind of starts picking his spots, especially as he's gotten older. It feels like Jokic is doing that a little bit too, but he's still picking up the other stats because he's like, I want everybody else. The way it seems like I want everybody else to score. I want everybody else to be happy. I want them to get their touches. I'm plenty happy getting rebounds and dishing the basketball. And kind of picking apart a defense. That seems to be the way that it's going.
So right now, as we're recording this on Sunday night, the Los Angeles Lakers lead the Miami Heat by 7 points. Luka Doncic has 20 points tonight to go with 9 rebounds and 10 assists, and the fourth quarter has yet to be played. Luka's number has moved because he missed time, and I get that every single game we tick off of here is a problem for that 65 game limit. And it was weird that they benched him, that they sat him down for a bruise. It was weird.
Weird, yeah.
But this number has also moved $1.70 off of the open. I don't know that we're going to get a worse number now than 550. That's a really good number. And there is a 650 in the market here for Luka Doncic for MVP. And if you're like, yeah, but the Lakers, look, they got through a stretch without Luka Doncic and LeBron James and went out 2-1. Like, they are good enough to get into this conversation, I think, to where this bet has value. I'm probably going to add some Luka tonight.
So if we do this, what if we say we do BPMs around what's going on? What if we say Giannis maintains like a 12 BPM all season, Luka's around 12, just for argument's sake, Shai's at like 9. And then if the team wins are Bucks at 47, Lakers at 47, and Thunder at 64. Who wins it?
I think it's really hard to get away from Shai, to be honest with you, because to me, part of why I think that Shai is so valuable and why he was the guy I bet on preseason was he just does not have bad games. Like they just don't happen. Like his bad game is 25 points. That's what a bad game for Shai is. And it's usually because they blew the team out and he didn't have to play in the fourth quarter. Like every single time, like it's just like the consistency. It's 30 points, 30 points, 30 points, 30 points. And like, I think that you get that from the other guys to a degree, but like Luka has these nights where he can't make a shot. Like he just goes like 2 for 15 from 3-point range. And like that can lose you a game. And then like Victor even, and I think that we all kind of are on the same page in terms of Victor. Like I think this number is just hype. Like I don't think that he's a legitimate, like I don't think that he should really be in this conversation in the same way, but like he just had a foul trouble night against the Phoenix Suns, who have been trash to start the season, and he's gotten like 9 points and 9 boards. Like that's a bad game, especially by the standard that I think that we're holding him to. I think the injury risk on Giannis is just high. Like he just has missed time, I feel.
Well,
so
the other thing I was gonna say about Luka, the injury risk is high.
Yeah, that too. So it's like the two of them. Like, I don't know. I really struggle to get around Shai. The dude doesn't miss, really, and he doesn't have bad games ever. And I think that that's why Oklahoma City's so good.
And the other thing is they seem to be content resting like everyone else other than him. Now, the only thing I would say is the counter, though, is like, so he's probably going to have, and again, maybe probably is not the right word. He potentially could have this like advanced metrics gap that isn't working in his favor. And he'll have the voter fatigue thing. It is harder to go back to back than it is to win in a vacuum. So when you combine all that with him being the shortest number, I would not go out and bet Shai today. Now, Shai, I think, was, the consensus from all of us probably preseason. But the name I'm interested in, to be honest, is Giannis. I think he has less health concern to me than Luka. I think if those two teams each win 47 games, I think Giannis is going to be the more likely to win MVP than Luka. Although I could be wrong. I don't really know. I think Giannis is the more likely to maintain these numbers because Luka is going to have LeBron come back at some point. And even though Luka is going to be able to play very well with LeBron, it's just going to eat into those numbers a little bit. Whereas with Giannis, it's not really anyone lurking to eat into his numbers.
I don't know. He had nuts numbers last year with LeBron too, though.
Yeah.
This is a number. So here's a little number. Thunder are 7-0, right? Killing it, undefeated. 3-4 against the spread.
Yeah.
And if you look at these, if you watch these games, they are not like they are in doubt. Like there was a moment in the third quarter versus the Wizards where I was like, are the Wizards gonna? And then they blew them out and they covered that game.
Yeah.
But last year there have never been a moment where I was like, are the Wizards going to do? Now, again, this does not mean that the Thunder are not the best team. They are, or that they shouldn't be the favorite. They should be. They are. They should be. Okay. This is about expectation. This is about meeting expectation. And it's about what happened. And the response from Thunder fans is like, well, yeah, we're without Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams. I'm just like, look, man, I'm telling you, last year it didn't matter who played. That was who you were last year. It didn't matter who played. You blew out the Blazers when you sat the starting five because that's where your team was at. And a lot of this does get into talent matters. And I'm trying really hard not to overcorrect on that. But there is like a matter of how is your team like playing as a whole on both sides of the floor. And it's not that I don't think the Thunder are playing well. They are. They're just not playing as well as last year, which is the exact same thing I started noticing about Boston last year. Now, I think the margin between OKC and everybody else is higher than it was between Boston and everybody else. So I'm not saying that the Thunder aren't going to win the title. Like, I'm not saying that. But when we talk about MVP, this matters a lot because the path for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to win MVP has to go through 60+ wins.
The only thing I would say is I can almost see this being the case for Shai, though, because what does Brandon always say about like it's not you actually don't want the MVP to win the title because usually the MVP is having to do a lot of heavy lifting. If you look at Shai's stats this year, his points per game are up because he's having to play more into these games.
Yeah.
So his stats could actually get helped out by the fact that he is playing fourth quarters this game and he is having to like contribute down the stretch.
Yeah, and I think also at the end of the day, we're in the first like 2 weeks of the season. If anything, I think that these 7 games where you're kind of looking at the team saying, well, like they haven't been as good, whatever. Come voting time, they started the season 7-0. Like those are 7 wins, and nobody's gonna remember exactly how they started the season.
That's true.
Like they're just gonna say they won 7 games right off the rip, and they had nobody else starting that game.
And nobody's gonna look at like the ATS performance in those kind of conversations. The only thing I'll say, Jim, is like I'm just gonna hold to the like Brandon's rules about age. Giannis misses a random game out of nowhere the other night with just like, knees a little sore, gonna sit down. I'm just gonna hold to it. It's been proven like if a guy wins with an age over 29, I'll lose, and that's okay. But I just can't. I can't.
That's very fair.
I do think though too, like Giannis is always going to be like I feel like he's going to be like a little bit of a longer shot. Like it's even if at a better number, like even if this season progresses and he doesn't miss, right? Like I still struggle to see multiple other candidates out of the race, right? Like I think there's going to be at least one of Shai, Luka, Giannis, Jokic, even Wemby, like in that conversation at a minimum. So it's like, even if one of them drops out, if Giannis is still there, you're probably still going to get a decent number come even like All-Star break or post trade deadline where you could really look at it and go like, where's this team going? Like, are they going to be good enough? I don't think the number is going to be crazy because especially after like some of the straw polls come out, then you might really get a better bet on Giannis where like maybe it doesn't coalesce around him and like it just is like, oh, well, it's going this way right now.
This one person does not actually stack up well in Darko, which is another advanced metric, but I will say I'll continue to like he was a preseason bet for me. Hunt Cunningham is a bad dude, and Pistons are starting to turn that on. I just want to kind of throw that note out there. Okay, let's move to most improved player because I think it's a little early to actually get a good sense for where any of this is going to go. But I am curious to get the thoughts from the two of you about like what we've seen early and how to identify value. So if we look at most improved player, in the preseason, it was like Denny Avdia took a whole bunch of steam, and Thompson came back and took even more. And Amen's be even better than I thought he would be. Like Amen's, I was like, oh yeah, Amen's gonna be awesome, but I think everybody's getting a little carried away. And then like you see it, and it's like, oh boy, he's really good. But the leader is Matas Buzelis, who is plus 900 at DraftKings. That's from before the season, he was 18-1, and now he is half that. He is $9 shorter in the market. Amen Thompson hasn't moved. He was plus 900 before the season. He's plus 900 now. Josh Giddey was 18-1. He is also 9-1. So you have Bazelas and Giddey, 2 Bulls on the same team at 9-1. Ryan Rollins is at 9-1. He was unlisted before the season began. Avdia was 12-1. He has slipped to 17-1. So I'm sorry, he was 14-1 at DraftKings. He's moved up $3. Austin Reeves was not I don't have a number. Oh yeah, he's 20-1 right now. And in preseason, he was 21. So he actually hasn't moved either.
Yeah.
Joe Dellera, what do you think about most improved player? And are there any names you're watching?
It's so early in the season, but one player that I think is really interesting is I think Reeves is kind of interesting based on what he's been able to do. And just like when he gets this expanded role, he just is going crazy. But I do have some hesitation because I think that if anybody on the Lakers is going to have to see some reduced usage, it's probably going to be him more so than Luka. One guy that I am definitely like interested in though is I think Jaime Jaquez has been really good for Miami, and in part of why I'm looking at it this way. I don't think he doesn't totally fit the same criteria that we've been looking at where you need to make an all-star team, but I also think that there's been a little bit of like, well, we don't really want to go that way if they've been like a top pick in the draft, or if they've been around a little bit longer, or if they've had a lot of success. But what Miami's doing stylistically, I think, has been really strong for him because they basically completely come off of pick and roll, and they're just like not really running it, and they're just saying get the rebound and run. And it's been, I think, really good for him. He's getting out in open court. He's getting a lot more rebounds. The counting stats are kind of adding up. I think he's somebody that I'm like curious about. But I don't know if at 20-1, I don't necessarily think that that's like a great number for him. But he's somebody that I want to keep tabs on.
Yeah, cash the minus 1100
parlay it.
Parlay the 2
Yeah, on the again. Man, two in a night is rare. Well, let's get Jim's thoughts, and then I have a question.
Yeah.
So I am pretty much with Joe in thinking about how early this is, and I actually, as much as I my beloved Chicago Bulls, taking it to Joe's Knicks, making this a Bulls podcast.
We got it back. We got it back today.
I think that Chicago has had a pretty easy schedule to start the season. Little bit of a paper tiger, even though I think they are like a 500 team. I don't think they're going to be good enough to have 2 main candidates for MIP. And if they do, like if they are staying that good, it means both are playing well enough, and it's probably going to split the vote. And usually that doesn't help. So I think that this market is pretty open. And I think it's very much one that there will be big value. I just think that it's not very clear who it is right now. I love Ryan Rollins. I'm really bummed because, one of my preseason bets in this market was Kevin Porter Jr., thinking the guard next to Giannis who's going to have the ball. And I like Ryan Rollins, and I don't like Kevin Porter Jr. It just seemed like Kevin Porter Jr. maybe had the higher ceiling, but Rollins has been awesome. That being said, I don't think you want to chase the 10-1 that's out there right now. There's going to be a lot of other moves in this market. And Rollins himself, I don't think this number is going to, I don't think Rollins is going to be plus 300 in a couple of weeks. So I wait and see. I think other names are going to pop up. The name that I like is the one you mentioned. I think both of you guys is Reeves. Because even in the games with Luka and LeBron last year, there were 19 games that the 3 of them all played. He averaged 24 and 4. And here's the other thing. I think that these guys are going to be out of the lineup. I just said with Luka, I don't trust Luka's health. I definitely don't trust, age, whatever age we are of LeBron now. There's just no reason to push him, especially like you said, Matt. They're winning games without them. Why press? His stats so far in the games without them are bananas. So I did a little breakdown basically, and if we kind of break the season into like chunks of I don't know, whatever these come out to be, but if there's like 33 games with them both playing, and we give him averages of 21, 4, and 5, 33 games with one of them, and he goes 24, 5, and 6, and then 16 games with neither, and he goes 35 and 8. And 35 and 8 sounds high. He's averaging way higher than that.
Right.
Yeah, it is. That basically comes out to 25, 5, and 7, and up from 24 and 6 last year. We already had Nekias Duncan on his podcast talking about, is Reeves the second best Laker? Like, there's buzz. It's a Laker. He's a white dude, honestly, who's always covered in the media. Like, I think that he is going to be a very strong candidate in this field. And at 20-1, I don't mind a little sprinkle out right now. I wouldn't mind waiting on LeBron news. Like, let's see if suddenly you make this bet tonight, and then like, this week it comes out LeBron's going to be back sooner than later, then you're like, man, that all right. Well, I kind of pressed that. I think this market in general, you wait a little bit, but Reeves is the name in that kind of second tier I'm eyeing. And then I do think that there could even be longer shots. I think that we are very early in the most improved player race right now.
Reeves is 21-9 right now, by the way, midway through the fourth quarter. So he's going to have another good night. So that to me is like, this is the thing. Because that was the question I was going to ask you. Bazelis, Giddey, Rollins, Keyshawn George, WizHive, Reeves, Jaquez, Avdia, AJ Mitchell. Which of those guys is most likely to get an all-star spot?
I think Reeves hands down.
It's got to be Reeves. Yeah, it's not even close.
And if we know that has been a significant marker for most improved player throughout the last 7 seasons, we have value here.
Although Reeves hands down, Denny's interesting too, though. I think that especially I think Portland's pretty legit, and I think he's their best player. You don't think Portland's legit?
I don't think Portland's legit. Every underlying number I've got is like, yeah, no.
I think they're very legit, but I think they could be legit, and he could not even be an all-star, and Reeves could still be an all-star.
I think too, like the jump to the jump from 20-ish to 25 is dramatically more difficult than like a lot of these other jumps. Plus, like I think the thing is, like, kind of the way you broke it down, Jim, I think is a good way to kind of look at the season and look at how you could kind of project his stats to go out. But playing alongside of Luka and LeBron, as it has benefits, but it makes it much more difficult to carve out that role, right? So, the benefits are that you might not always get the primary defensive pressure, but then he kind of rises to that occasion when he's given that opportunity. It's almost like, this is like somebody's getting a shot here, but like Derek White has not scaled. I think it's been bad actually for him, in terms of what I expected. Whereas you see Reeves, and like Reeves is doing the thing that like we kind of have known he could do, but that was the thing I thought we were going to see from Derek White. And I think that's why Derek White was so like highly, he was pretty up on this list even before the season, if I recall correctly, for most improved. So we are seeing like that it isn't just a natural thing where you get more minutes, more usage, the numbers come. So I think that the jump for Reeves is more significant, but like the 20-1, I just wish we were getting something a little bit better, especially given the fact that LeBron's not playing right now.
Well, and I think people will remember that scalability. I think you're 100% right, Joe. And I think it's like a thing that people are noticing. And it's like, oh, like his game can translate. Like he dropped 50 without those guys. It translates. I think that like, especially come All-Star time, like you could be, even if you still think he's their third best player, but if he's like, if you put him in another situation, he can scale. That might be better than like a Denny Avdia who like is really solid, but like isn't, he's the main dude and he's not dropping 50 burgers like Austin.
And candidly too, I would imagine that Reeves's camp would be pushing so hard to get this award coming off of what, like there's no way he's going to opt into this player option next year.
Yeah.
So like he's basically going to hit what I guess it's unrestricted free agency coming off. Then they can say he's the most improved player. He jumped from this to that.
Are the Lakers going to be pushing against it though? Try and save $1.
Fair, but I think that at this
Rui Hachimura has had a great season.
He's really the guy who's been the number secret.
3. Yeah,
he's the key.
But I was just saying, I think we could see like a pretty big push in that regard.
I agree.
Okay. Well, come on next. We're gonna do our Future Jays Buckets Future of the Week. We'll get into that on Rookie of the Year, but first, the Buckets podcast is teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, and 3 months of NBA League Pass. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. To get started, use promo code BucketsNBA when signing up with DraftKings. Again, Use code BUCKETS, NBA, when signing up and bet $5 to get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. Plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours. Okay, for our DraftKings special of the week, we're going to talk about Rookie of the Year. That's going to be our future bet of the week. We don't even know what it's going to be yet. So we're going to take a look at the odds, and then we're going to figure it out as we get here, because the market, I think, is in a really good place here, and the guys have some thoughts. So Rookie of the Year, obviously, Cooper Flagg entered the season as a heavy, prohibitive favorite. I was skeptical the entire way about what it was going to look like with this Mavericks team. I am not going to take a victory lap after less than 2 weeks of play, but it's obviously been a little bit of a rocky start for the Mavericks and Cooper Flagg because of what's been asked of him. In the market currently, Flagg is finally a plus number. He's plus 110 at DraftKings. VJ Edgecombe, who's been absolutely incendiary for the Philadelphia 76ers, plus 120. Dylan Harper, plus 900. Ace Bailey, plus 950. Trey Johnson, plus 1200. And on down the line. The biggest move has obviously been on Edgecombe, who moved from 10-1 in preseason all the way to plus 120 here. He's been that good. He has moved $8.80 since the start of the season. Jim, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on Rookie of the Year and how we should approach this?
Yeah, I do think it's a good buy spot on Cooper Flagg here. It's so early in the game, but one thing I do in baseball is pitcher starts are so variant. I'll kind of it's like pitchers had 5 starts. Take out the best and take out the worst, and you kind of flatten stuff out a little bit. If we do that here with if you take out VJ's first game, that debut game he had, he kind of caught the Celtics by surprise, took 26 field goal attempts. Since then, he's been averaging around like 14 field goal attempts a game, which is still a very solid number. But we still have to remember they're getting Paul George back. They're getting Jared McCain back, like directly in that backcourt. Mm-hmm. Now, Nick Nurse loves his dudes, and VJ has been awesome and has been that dude. We saw the jumper get a little shaky. To me, this is like you're buying at the highest possible level for VJ. Like if you can find a way to bet the no on this, I think that's a really good bet, because I do think that Cooper Flagg should, if we do the inverse with Flagg and we take out that OKC game, he's averaging 16, 7, and 4, which is basically exactly what we thought. And that's with some bad shooting. That's like 44% on twos, even taking out that OKC game. So I think his, I don't know if he's going to shoot way, way better, to be honest, especially in this offense. But if you get him up around like 17, 7, and 5 or something like that, it's going to take some really good numbers from VJ to overtake the person who everyone is going to, want to give this award to. I do think, Dylan Harper is pretty interesting. De'Aaron Fox coming back will probably impact him. But I think my favorite way of playing this, if you can find a way to do it, is to bet just no on VJ Edgecombe at like some spots out there. He's favored. Cooper Flagg to me should still be the prohibitive favorite. He should be minus money. I don't mind the plus 110. I think it's an overreaction to an amazing start from VJ, but with him potentially trending down, those field goal attempts have been trending down game after game. Whereas Cooper Flagg, it's hard to picture it going much worse than this, and their numbers are pretty similar, even with that being the case.
Yeah, and it just came out too that Dylan Harper left the arena in a walking boot and crutches today, so not great for Dylan Harper either. But I'm 100% with you, Jim. I think that the bet is on Cooper Flagg. The fact that we're getting a plus number, I think, is tremendous. And I mean, even looking at what Edgecombe's doing, like I'm not the biggest college basketball follower, right? He is shooting right now 44% from 3. He shot 34% in college from 3-point range. Like I don't think that that's like a sustainable rate for him at all, coupled with the fact that I think McCain was awesome, like absolutely awesome last year. So they haven't had McCain. Joel Embiid is on whatever minutes restriction he's on, and Paul George hasn't played. Like there's just so much more usage in Philadelphia that is going to get, I think, just completely gobbled up, that those numbers are going to come down. I think this is a perfect buy opportunity for Flagg. The fact that we're getting a plus number here, I think, is incredible 2 weeks into the season.
You guys are putting me in a bad position here. Like, Okay, but like the Mavericks. That's like the Mavericks. But the problem is, I think with this is, if this season goes the way I can see it going and this spirals out of control, and then they're just like, yeah, Kyrie's kid tonight meant like last night, by the way, was talking about Kyrie returning before the end of 2025.
Did we make that little head-to-head, Matt?
We did. Yeah, good. I mean, sure. Best of luck.
You're not giving that one up yet?
Best
You're not catching my bet?
Yeah, best of luck on that. But like if this goes sideways and they have to eventually just be like, yeah, it got out of hand and got out of control, and AD was in and out, and then we're just kind of done. And
do they have a pick this year?
Yes,
they do have their pick.
They'll probably be at the top of the lottery too.
So I could see then, though, that actually helps his bet, because then Cooper.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, this is the floor of what he's going to be doing. Like, I really struggle to see it going much worse than this for him. And if you take out that one OKC game, he's at 16, 7, and 4.
I do.
His percentages are so bad. He's shooting 37% from the floor and 28% from three. Like, there's just no way. There's no way it's going to be like that all year. I don't buy it.
I mean, the three I think could stick, but
like three maybe, but like
he can't shoot 44% on twos.
No.
I mean,
you don't want to be in on this.
I don't want to be. I wish that we had actually talked this through before now, because now I'm like, wait, the one person? Because tonight I was like, man, Dylan Harper looks amazing, and like maybe like this is a year where like it's a Tucker, and like Cedric Coward is so good. But you're probably right.
I was gonna say, if you can make the case for anyone else, I mean, my favorite way of betting is VJ no, because even I have some questions about Cooper and the Mavs. Like, I think those are totally fair. I just think that there's not like it went from like amazing class to, oh, he's dinged up, oh, he's not shooting well, oh, all these guys are coming back. Like, I kind of think it's just gonna be Cooper flat. His floor is just so insanely high, and this feels like the only time we're gonna get a plus number on him.
All right, fine. Here we go. Our buckets future of the week is Rookie of the Year Cooper Flag plus 115. I'll be the official play in the Action Network app under the buckets account at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. All right, let's do some best bets in the association for Monday.
Wait, can I sneak in one more future?
Oh, I forgot. I always forget your clutch.
It is the most forgettable award, which is why there's always some value in it. I'll just quickly, very, very quickly say I logged this week, so hopefully folks tailed that in the app. There's still plus 900s out there. Shea. So if I'm a little bit skeptical of Shea MVP, I think the perfect kind of, we're not going to give him MVP, we're going to give him a different award, is Clutch. And because there are closer games for OKC this year, he's already at 46 clutch points, and we're like 2 weeks in the season. Last year, Brunson won this with 156 points. He's like over a quarter of he's almost a third of the way to what Brunson did all of last season to win this award. Right now, the leaders in the market are him, and then a couple of previous winners, Brunson and Curry. This to me does not strike me as an award that's going to be a repeat winner. I don't see this turning into a sixth player of the year where you get, Brunson winning back-to-back years. I don't really see that. That hasn't really been suggested in the voting so far. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of time, and the Thunder, if they get healthy, maybe start rolling folks again. But I agree with you, Matt. You talked about the ATS record. There's more close games for this Thunder team this year. I think it's just the inevitability of, after a long season, winning your first title, there's going to be closer games, but Shea is their dude in the clutch. Like I said, the just astronomical number of points. Second leading scorer in the clutch so far is actually Tyrese Maxey, who I was interested in him preseason in this award, and actually think is also a decent bet. He's around twice as long as you can get on Shea right now. I think if you just bet those two guys, Luka's the only other one that's like vaguely interesting. Ant's hurt. He had like a decent start, but he's already like missing games. So I think that will hurt him there. I know this is a really goofy award, but this has been a pretty successful award for us to bet in the past. I really like that Shea number. Like I said, it's still out there plus 900. Really love that one. And then we'll kind of hopefully play off of that one. I'm thinking this number will shrink once people do the control sort on the leaderboard. And, he's going to be leading for a while with the head start he got. So I really like Shea for Clutch Player of the Year. Oh, whoa, the trifecta.
That's a really smart play. I really like it. I don't know what you're talking about. I was just delayed. I was just mouthing in shock at how smart that cap was. That's all right, let's do some best bets for the Monday slate. Joe Dellera, we'll start with your 3-star play. What do you got for me?
I like Giannis Antetokounmpo over 11.5 rebounds against the Indiana Pacers. I think this is just a great spot for him against this Pacers team who has been pretty abysmal, honestly, on both sides of the ball. They're 1-5, but this team is bad. Like, I'm very happy that we've taken a lot of like downward escalators on the Pacers this season, but they're also playing at a pretty fast pace. They're playing at the 12th fastest pace in the league. Part of why I like the rebounds is I just think that they've struggled immensely on offense. You're going to get a lot of rebounding opportunities there. But then also from this perspective as well, they're allowing their opponents to just gobble up rebounds on the glass. So they're allowing the 4th most rebounds to their opponents overall. Miles Turner, as we know, not like an exceptional rebounding threat either. So I do think this is a good spot for Giannis at the over 11.5. He's cleared this number pretty easily so far throughout the majority of the season. And I also like the fact that when we look at this game, we kind of look at the Bucks, they've had some success without him. Obviously they took care of business the other night, but I do think that with Giannis in tow, these games are still like a little bit more competitive just based on what we're kind of looking at for the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think this game could be competitive. I like him to secure these rebounds, and he's averaging 13.4 anyway. And the past 2 games he played were slightly tougher rebounding matchups against the Knicks and the Kings. So I think it's a good spot against Indiana where we're getting this 11.5 still.
I did some work on half-court advantage in both offense and defense, and then transition side. The Pacers are basically like, yeah, they're like barely above average on transition in terms of net, and they are the furthest team. Like, they are the worst half-court team in the league right now.
Yeah,
that's bad. That is not good when they just don't have the size to be able to defend. Now, Siakam knows how to defend him. Like, Siakam's been really good, but especially taking this on a rebound line, they just don't have the size.
Yeah.
Like, they just do not have the size to combat him. So he's going to get, I think, a couple of extra offensive rebounds to kind of pad this number. It's a strong play for Giannis over 11.5 rebounds, which is Joe Dellera's 3-star play of the night. Jim Turvey, your 3-star play.
I'm also going to the rebounds. I'm also going to an over. I'm going to Steven Adams over 6.5 rebounds. You can get that at plus money right now. Perfect game here for Ime to go back to the 2 big lineup. First 2 games this season, Adams was a starter. He averaged 31.5 minutes and 11 rebounds in those games. And there was an overtime game in there, but if he starts and gets, even 20 minutes or so, he's going to clear this number, even in that, Şengün lineup. Against Dallas, this is a perfect team to kind of roll that out, that 2 big lineup out with. I really think that Okogie will be coming off the bench here. Adams will be getting the start. Dallas, despite their size, this is a team that theoretically should be grabbing up all the boards with their length and size at every position. They're giving up the 8th most offensive rebounds. That's really where Adams does well, is on that offensive glass. So this is probably escalator season for me as well. I'll probably hit the 10 rebounds and maybe even a 14 or something in case he starts and gets big minutes again. Because he is definitely capable of putting up some monster rebound lines. He even cleared this in 2 of the games he didn't start. It was really just the last game that he went under this, and that was just in 14 minutes against this Dallas team. I would be pretty surprised if he played just 14 minutes again. So this is kind of a 2 big lineup. We're going back to Adams in the starting lineup type cap here.
Gafford is more the Washington Wizard than he is the Dallas Maverick that made that miracle run in 2024.
Yeah.
As I begged people to understand how much of a fluke run that was. Turns out, yeah. No Derek Lively, no Anthony Davis. This is like a very large chunk. I will say, like, the Rockets offense suddenly is just like killing everyone. By the way, you might want to, most of the market is still very sharp, and I haven't looked over the team stuff because we were doing awards tonight. Houston's profile is like, yeah, no, don't worry about the record. This team is a monster. Like,
the market respect, they're 12.5 point favorites.
Yeah, they're getting.
It's yeah. So they're a wagon. But yeah, Adams over 6.5 rebounds is a really smart way to attack this. Like this a lot. Mine is very simple. Wolves Nets over 229.5. This number with the Brooklyn Nets should never be below 230. Point. And it doesn't matter who they're facing. I don't care who they're playing. They should not be under 230. Both teams are 4-2 to the over in the season. So you got an overall 8-4 mark here for the two teams combined. The Wolves offense has been, I think, underrated a little bit. Dante DiVincenzo is starting to percolate a little bit. And even without Ant, like they've been able to actually put up some numbers offensively. They're actually struggling on the defensive end. And people, I think, do underestimate the impact that Ant has on the defensive end as far as it being another ball handler, especially with Nickeil Alexander-Walker lost. Think of this like a cluster injury in football, where you used to have these three guys. You had Jaden and Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Anthony Edwards, and you could attack everybody's wings with these three guys. Now you don't have that. You have just Jaden McDaniels with Ant still out. That means that you're playing more guys like Rob Dillingham, who they're trying to get up to speed. They're playing Bones Highland. They're playing smaller guys. Dante DiVincenzo is getting a much bigger role in the offense. Mike Conley has to play a little bit more because they need the ball handling on the floor. None of these guys are plus defenders on the wing. Terrence Shannon Jr. is I think it's going to be he's like offensively, he's still just terrific. The defense is still very much a work in progress. They're not going to be the type of defensive team that they want to be by the end of the season right now. And this Nets team, this Nets team is the Nets. And the one thing they will do is they will just run up and they'll shoot a lot. They will shoot and they will get first drive. So I do see this being an over spot here, even if this is just the Wolves putting up 140, which is entirely possible. I like Wolves Nets over 229.5 is my best bet for Monday. Joe Dellera, your 2-star, 1-star.
All right. So my 2-star is Nikola Jokic over 21.5 rebounds plus assists and triple double. And my 1-star is Jalen Duren double. So I'll talk about Jokic first. It's funny because I kind of mentioned that the Kings in the last play, I was like, the Kings have been a little bit of a tougher rebounding matchup, but not necessarily for Jokic. Jokic has played so well against Sabonis throughout his career. And I think this is just one of those matchups where he's got this level of familiarity between the two of them. And it's been advantageous for Jokic over the past couple of seasons, but they've been pretty susceptible to RA from the center position over this season anyway. Vucevic 14-7, not necessarily like prolific passer either. Hartenstein 14-3, DeAndre Ayton 15 rebounds and 2 assists. So I think it's been a weak spot for this Sacramento team where the rest of the team as well is not incredibly talented on the defensive side of the ball. So I think that Sabonis is like a big enough body to, maybe force Jokic to pass the ball a little bit more. But we kind of were talking about this at the beginning of the show. Jokic is just totally comfortable doing that so far this season. It's like, even if he isn't playing as many minutes or isn't scoring as much, he's very comfortable from a rebounding and assist perspective. On the season, he's hit this in 4 or 5 games. The one game he missed, he had 22 RA, and it was against the Pelicans in a 34-point blowout win. So I'd imagine that had that game been any closer, he goes over this number there as well. So he's got triple doubles in 4 or 5 games. I think that honestly, at this point, when you look at that number and you're getting plus 150, plus 155 or so on the triple double, I don't mind adding it to the RA in this spot. As for Jalen Duren, I think it's also a great spot for him against the Memphis Grizzlies. This Grizzlies team has been off to like a little bit of a rocky start for a variety of different reasons. And I do think that this is a good spot for Duren on the double-double. In large part, I think the scoring, he generally is able to honestly is able to just get there. But from a rebounding perspective, Memphis is generally a little bit weaker on the interior. They still don't have Edey. You're still kind of relying on Jaren Jackson Jr. on the interior. This is still a tougher spot for them. And Duren just came off like a career game for himself. And I think that he's going to be able to build off of that as well here. So I like the spot for Duren. And I think that the double-double, when you can get him at a double-double at about like minus 110, minus 120, it's always a great price for Jalen Duren. So I'm going to be backing him on a double-double against the Memphis Grizzlies.
This is my 1-star, the Jalen Duren double-double. Love this play. Memphis is a mess right now. Their communication's a mess right now. They have no bigs. Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. It's very bad. So I'm happy to get on Duran, who I think is starting to hit his stride after they elected not to give him the extension. So we'll see how that works out for them. But yeah, I think this is a great spot for Duran. I mean, on this as my 1-star. Jim Turvey, your 2 and your 1 stars.
Yeah, for my 2, I've got Mikal Bridges over 4.5 assists. He's kind of been thriving as a hub in the Mike Brown offense. If you look at his assists per game, 6, 2, 4, 6, 6, and today he had 9. This was a bet I'm running back from today. The line was 3.5 today. We actually don't have the official line, so I'm kind of guessing it's going to be at 4.5 after this game today. Obviously, keep an eye in the app for the exacts. But if you look at his potential assists and just his number of passes per game last season, he was at 36 passes a game, 6 potentials a game. This season, and this is before his crazy 9 assist game today, because the stats haven't updated. But he was at 53 passes a game, 8 potentials a game. So those are very notable jumps. Mike Brown's really like using him kind of, like I said, as a hub, as a creative hub. They're playing the Wizards. Obviously, the fear there is a blowout. But honestly, Matt, I'm with you. These Wizards are fun, but the defense isn't great. They allow the most points per game because of the pace they play at, the 4th most assists per game. So I think Bridges here is a really good fit to go over his assist line. We'll get the exacts and get him in the app when we get those. And then finally, Isaiah Jackson over 5.5 rebounds. You can get plus money on that. Hopefully there's just a lot of rebounds in this game because he's kind of the opposite to Giannis there. I've really liked what I've seen the last couple of games from Isaiah Jackson. I bet him last game, got nervous because he got instant foul trouble, which is always a fear with him, which is why it's the 1-star play. But it didn't really matter. He played 21 minutes still. He was a plus 18. He really mattered for that win against the Warriors. One of the best plus minuses on the team there. The last 2 games, plus 26 as a whole. If you're plus 26 on this Pacers team, that's a pretty good number. It's a crowded rotation. They've been signing guys to hardship deals, so it's a little bit scary. But I think that the floor here with Jackson is so good. He got 19 rebounds over these last 2 games. He had 11 in the game that he got 27 minutes, and then he had 8 in the game he had 21 minutes. So to get 6 rebounds, you're really only looking at him needing like 15 minutes of action against this team. So a little bit dicier, a little bit scarier, I guess I should say, of the plays there. That's why it's the 1-star play. But he's been really good of late. I think Carlisle's going to continue to go to him in this divisional game here, and I like him to clear 6 rebounds, and that should still leave plenty for Giannis as well. So I think we can hopefully both take it home there.
Okay, I'm also got to play on the Wizards Knicks game. I'm going to take the under in that game. So going a little bit against the cap here, but not really, because this is just like the Wizards are not going to score a lot. Knicks, surprisingly, Knicks offense is below average in half-court offense, which I thought was interesting. The other thing is that they average the 6th longest offensive length of possession. The Knicks really work the ball. They really kind of work it. And the Wizards actually are 18th, which is not as fast as their 2nd-rated offensive possession length. So what Jim's talking about is, and this is something that like I think Brian Keefe's done a really good job with them. For the love of God, I'm begging you, as a member of Wizards Hive, slow down. Stop it. Stop running. Stop. Your guys are not good enough to execute under pressure. They cannot get the ball up and then try and like win a 2-on-1. They can't do that yet. And I know it's like, oh, but they're young and fast. Yeah, this is the NBA. Everyone runs. I need that. Like when they actually work the offense, the Wizards offense, I'm like, that wasn't bad. They create a good look out of that. Like their expected EFG, not bad. Like they actually create some good stuff. Slow it down. They won't. I'm not saying they will in this game, but they also can't score. As bad as they are defensively, they're worse in offense. They're 30th in schedule adjusted offense in this game. So I think this is a good spot for the Knicks defense to beat up on a bad team that can't score. And I think there's like Mikal can easily hit this 4.5 number in both transition opportunities off of turnovers from Washington, etc. And the under still hit here at 234.5. I just think it's a little heavy. I think the Knicks will just run clock, and this will be a pretty dominant performance by New York, but also not break the 234.5 mark. I think this is going to be one that helps the Knicks defense numbers go up. So I'll take the under 234.5. If you want to just play the Wizards team total under, don't hate that either. So to review tonight's best bets on the show for Monday, with our handy graphic, I've got Wolves Nets over 229.5, Wizards Knicks under 234.5, and the Duren double-double minus 120. Joe's got Giannis over 11.5 rebounds, the Jokic triple-double, and his rebounds and assists. Duren a double-double as well at minus 120. Jim Turvey's got Adams over 6.5 rebounds plus 110. Mikal Bridges over 4.5 assists, and Isaiah Jackson over 5.5 rebounds plus 128. Hope you guys have enjoyed the Future Jays. Make sure to give us a like and subscribe. Download the Action Network app. Go check out Cash That podcast with Joe Dellera. Go check out the projections from Jim Turvey over at Roto Grinders. Follow them on Twitter at Joe Dellera and at Turvey Bets. My thanks to David Payne, our producer, getting this up on the audio side, as well as Gifford Gould handling this on the video side. Hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you guys again tomorrow for more best bets. Till then, let's get buckets.